How psychedelics are returning to the world of medicine. Millions of people in Germany have been diagnosed with depression. Researchers believe that drugs such as LSD and psilocybin can offer an effective treatment. They could also bring big profits. On July 13, there was a rainy sky above the southern German city of Mannheim. But despite the uninspiring weather, it was a day of hope for millions of people with depression because the first patients of a research project run by the Central Institute of Mental Health were scheduled to have a psychedelic experiment. They wore blindfolds and headphones that played music and were accompanied by two therapists. The hallucinogen used for inner journey is called psilocybin. This active ingredient was isolated about 60 years ago. It gives the magic mushrooms their magic, that is, their mind altering effect, and it has been banned almost worldwide, including in Germany, for over a century. Even for the Mannheim researcher, obtaining the substance has proven to be the highest hurdle. That's according to researcher and psychiatric professor Gerhard Grunder. There are not that many manufacturers in the world from whom you can obtain such a substance in the required quality. It was a long and laborious process, he said, but the laborious process is becoming more common. Hallucinogenic trips have long ceased to be solely the recreational pastime of hippies. A growing number of scientific studies point to the potential of psilocybin assisted therapy for treating depressed patients, even those for whom other therapies have been exhausted. The Mannheim study, with a total of 144 patients, is now large enough that Grunder expects statistically robust conclusion. Depression is a widespread condition. According to estimates by the World Health Organization, about 300 million people worldwide live with depression. In Germany, that number is an estimated 5 million, and the health ministry has referred to it as a widespread disease. A conservative estimate is that around 1 in 5 patients cannot be helped with conventional treatments method, but is a huge need, Grunder said, adding that his institute is almost overrun with inquiries from patients. In conventional therapies, patients are treated with daily doses of antidepressants. The new approach is fundamentally different. Here it is a matter of taking this substance once or twice, Grunder said. This is very disruptive therapy that becomes embedded in a psychotherapeutic program. Subjects in earlier studies reported life-changing experience and significantly improved mental states and were even able to stop taking their antidepressants, often a state that lasted for many months after the healing trip. The prospects of being able to significantly improve the condition of severely depressed people with such a psychedelic sessions is worth over $2.3 million in funding to the Ministry of Education and Research. The fact that public money is now also flowing into research with psilocybin in Germany shows that psychedelic research is slowly edging from the fringes into the medical mainstream. Psychedelic substances have returned to where they once stood in the 1950s and 60s, to the center of psychiatric, medical, and physiological research. International meeting of experts in Berlin. This could be seen in mid-September in Berlin when the Insight 2021 conference took place. Organized by Mind Foundation, according to its website, the foundation advocates the evidence-based, safe and legal use of psychedelic experience in medicine and society. The venue for the meeting of the Center of International Psychedelic Research is the Berlin Charité, one of Germany's most prestigious medical institutions. For 4 days, attendees discussed neurological process compared to the effects of LSD, psilocybin and other drugs with diagrams, and presented the state of research in a wide variety of fields. Even an employee of the German Drug Approval Authority, the Federal Authority for Drugs and Medical Devices, was there. We managed to destigmatize the topic. A discourse has emerged, Mind Foundation co-founder Andrew Zagwell said in summary. How this discourse will affect day-to-day medical business remains to be seen. Experts are already enthusiastic. How ecstasy and psilocybin are shaking up psychiatric, a headline of the science magazine Nature gushed at the beginning of the year. Psilocybin on the stock market. A growing number of companies are also keen. If they had their way, psilocybin, the ecstasy active ingredient, MDMA, and other substances would soon be used across the board to treat depression, addiction, and an array of other diseases. At least that is the goal of the biotech holding company Atai Life Sciences, owned by German investor Christian Angermayer. Angermayer has discussed his own psilocybin experience in German media, including newspaper Handelsblatt and Westfalzi. And this summer, he took his company public in New York. Just 3 years after its founding, the Psychedelic company holding is already worth 2 billion. Atai's holdings include Compass Pathways, a British company that has developed its own synthetic psilocybin. Compass Pathway is currently conducting a phase 2 trial with the drug involving more than 200 patients at 22 locations in 10 countries. Currently, the largest psilocybin clinical trial in the world, the company, which is also listed on the Nasdaq in New York, has been valued over 1 billion after only 5 years in existence. The Berlin Registry of the Mind Foundation shows that the trip therapy boom has allowed an entire industry to flourish. It lists about 130 companies in the psychedelic industry, from a whole new hive which offers psilocybin retreats in the Netherlands to Webparts, a specialist for the right sound via headphones for inward journey. However, Andrew Zagbury is not entirely comfortable with the rapid development. Our best friend, our biggest enemy is the hype. She states, soberly promoting an appropriate approach between demonization and transfiguration. Swiss psychotherapist Peter Gasser, who has been working with LSD and MDMA for 30 years, shares this assessment. The pace almost scares me, he said. We're scaling up small niche treatment, just a few patients per the study. Now you are already thinking in terms of million. Gasser fears that the quality of treatment could suffer because it's seen as too technological or too schematic. Thank you.